Welcome to Secure Money Mindset, the ultimate podcast for financial planning tips and strategies. Our episodes are designed to be concise and to the point, lasting no more than 30 minutes. Each episode features seasoned advisors from Secure Planning Group or an outside financial specialist discussing crucial issues and providing actions to consider when addressing your top financial concerns. We value honesty and transparency, meaning we present both the good and the bad news in a clear and concise manner. Our goal is to provide you with reliable insights and practical guidance. Be sure to hit the follow button to stay up to date with our latest episodes. For more information, please visit our website at securepg.net. Let's dive into this week's episode of Secure Money Mindset.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Secure Money Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lenge, and with me today we have Brett Feldman, one of our client relationship managers here at Secure Planning Group, and we're here to talk to you today about AI and how it impacts the world of financial planning and how we leverage it. So I appreciate you joining us today, Brett.
Thank you for having me, Mike.
Yeah. So kicking things off, we'll just jump right into it in terms of how do you view AI as it relates to financial planning?
Yeah, so first of all, I think AI is one of the most interesting topics in our universe right now. It's very speculative. People love to talk about it. People love to talk about the direction they think it's going in and how it might be implemented in their world. So in our world of financial planning, I think it has a lot of avenues. It doesn't necessarily, or I don't think it will necessarily take over our industry, but it is something to definitely monitor and see where the technology advances in the coming years.
So I know that you mentioned a lot about like the future being kind of unknown. As it is today, like how do you see it impacting the day to day? What kind of tools are we using? How does AI used today?
Right. So in a lot of industries, we're seeing it already in anything from banking to healthcare. Banks are using it for things like software production, as well as just revenue generating tools. Another example would be you see self-driving cars. It takes the human aspect out of driving that can lead to a lot of mistakes. And you see it in a lot of industries also, as small as if you want to play chess on the computer against not a real person. It has human-like abilities where it can it can use decision-making processes and analysis, which is pretty interesting.
So with that being said, we kind of talked about it outside of our world and their applications. Like in terms of resources that Secure Planning Group uses, what do you see how do you guys apply AI today?
Yeah, so in the ways that I think it could be used even now and in the near future, we use software and financial planning tools. E-money would be an example if that's something that people out there are familiar with. You can input all of your personal information, how much money you make, maybe there's an inheritance coming in, and that will help calculate your planning needs, what you need now, what you need in the future, what you need for your kids, any other products outside of investment tools that is being used to make people's futures look more comfortable.
Yeah, so I came from the wholesaler side of the world, so it was always interesting to hear financial advisors speak to me as a sales guy or a consultant coming into their office and competing with robo-advisors. And I guess one of the easiest ways I summarize it to folks who bring that topic up is we have all the same tools and resources as a robo-advisor, and we're utilizing them on a daily basis the same way you would be forced to use a robo-advisor if you did it yourself. But that added level of human interaction and then also the expertise of how to use those tools. So leveraging that AI resource to its kind of maximum capacity, I think is the difference between just using a tool versus working with a group like us.
Right. So people that will use robo-advisors and are in favor of them, their arguments would be, it helps me generate gains in my portfolio and it's much cheaper, or it can be cheaper than using a financial advisor. And my argument to that would be, sure, maybe it can generate additional gains than it would if you just had all of your money in mutual funds. With that being said, there's a lot more to the financial advising world outside of generating a portfolio. Like I mentioned before, there's family planning aspects and just retirement aspects that you can't necessarily get from a robo-advisor. So sure, you can ask it questions, you can give it your risk tolerance, you give it your age, your income, and it'll spit out a portfolio that is suited for you. That does not necessarily mean that you are prepared in all aspects of the financial planning world. So yes, it does take out the human aspect of giving advice, hearing the advice from someone who is experienced in this industry.
And then I would, as an extension of that thought, I also think that execution is like a huge factor that is missed by a do-it-yourself setup, where in the absence of having an advisor or a team around you to help you execute on the plan, then a lot of times you let things linger, and things that aren't a priority to you won't be a priority, versus having that sounding board and having someone like us to push back and say, no, like this needs to be your priority in this calendar year, and you need to figure it out by the end of the year, is just a random, like, vague example. I guess the reason I bring it up, the robo-advisor topic, is people act like it's like taboo, like it's competition. It's no. If your advisor isn't using AI and technology and resources that are very similar to what a robo-advisor offers, then they're kind of leaving a lot on the table, because those resources are great, but it's not a full service option, right? Where unless in the absence of guidance in the past or some type of background in personal finance or financial literacy, very rarely is a do-it-yourself type of client ever where they would be if they were working with a team.
Right. My response to that would be, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be only human financial advisors with no use of artificial intelligence in any way. Mm-hmm. That advisor can certainly, as a time-saving tool, use artificial intelligence to go about their normal day-to-day abilities, just do it in a faster, more efficient way.
Yeah, and to your example there, I guess making it more real, is we mentioned the planning tool we use is eMoney. It's really the best out there, but one of the aspects of eMoney that has AI like applications is linking all of your existing credit cards, all of your existing loans, debt obligations, like a mortgage, all feeds right into the system, where in the past, or in the absence of a tool like that, your advisor is forced to rehash all of those items every time you guys meet. And that can take 30 to 40 minutes of a meeting, is just catching up on where your current financials sit, updating values on accounts and things like that. That is an example of a huge time save as it being streamlined through that tool.
Absolutely.
Making projections of where you'll be in the future. Again, in the past, in the absence of use of AI, it's all projections based on math calculations or whatever the system that was set up in the past. Again, to your point, it saves the advisor time, it makes it more accurate, and it also allows us to have more of a moving target. Nothing is ever going to be just sitting still, as like, if you will, in terms of all the variables that make up your financial picture.
Yep. Yeah. And so, yeah, like I mentioned, there will always be a human aspect needed in this industry. You can't predict the future. You might be able to say, I might come into inheritance, like I mentioned before. Maybe you're expecting a increase in your salary. Maybe you're moving jobs, and that is not always something that AI can just understand, process, and make a decision after receiving that information.
Yeah, and I think, I guess, kind of to wrap that point in terms of how using a mix of the approaches is really the best answer, is market conditions and human behavior and human psychology. Again, in the absence of working with a human, you don't have any type of guardrails in place that, hey, AI's assumptions are, I'm never going to sell, or I'm never going to act emotionally with my money. Well, that's a pretty big assumption. and that is the human factor, is who's going to be there to walk you off the ledge when things get very ugly, or who's going to be there to motivate you to take opportunity when things are down and everyone's screaming like the world's on fire. That might be a good opportunity to make some trades or things like that.
Right. And humans are not perfect. You hear a lot, buy low, sell high. That is not as simple as it sounds. People, like you mentioned, are very emotional when it comes to their money, and they need people to implement that. Again, buy low, sell high, don't panic. Market conditions are going to be what they are, but in the long term, as long as you stick with your strategy and advice from your advisor, then that's all you can do.
So is there anything else that you think we didn't touch on that is important to kind of close the loop on the topic of AI?
Yeah, so I would say, again, we don't know much about what the future holds in regard to AI. Some people are fearful that it might take jobs. I also think that there's another angle where it could add jobs. The software that we use, we mentioned e-money, that still involves human input and analysis and research, and that does involve a human element, even though it is a software that is used to make our lives easier.
Yeah, I think people, to your point, don't be afraid of AI. Leverage it, use it to your advantage, and we are every day. And we think it makes a meaningful impact on creating better results for our clients. And I don't think there could be a better way to summarize it, is why would we not leverage resources that help us improve your situation?
I'm with you.
But I appreciate you taking the time to talk about it. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. But we hope this was helpful, and we hope to see you next time.
Thanks for having me.